Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. It is August 6th. So, it's been a couple of days since the two mass shootings. I guess at this point people are starting to process, starting to just come out of shock a little bit. So they're having a little bit more clarity about, what isn't being done in Washington, what Trump did or did not say, what Mitch Mcconnell is or is not doing, and I guess ultimately what the NRA's reaction might or might not be, or if they're going to continue sort of keeping radio silent as they have so far, to the best of my knowledge. So, that's my question. What can we expect out of Washington, I guess, is the bottom line. Let's find out. All right. Come on down. Just while I'm shuffling this, Jerry says, Jerry says, thank you very much for all of the compliments. They've gone straight to his head, and he now thinks that, he should have his own YouTube channel. He's quite the adorable little kitty cat. So he thanks you very much. I have not yet had a chance to check out Rainbow Randy, but it's on my list of things to try to get accomplished today, so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so here we go. One last shuffle, and let's focus in on, well, maybe two last shuffles. There we go. Let's focus in on what will Washington do? What will Washington do? What will Washington do? This is a moment in time. Wow. Okay. This is a moment in time where actually some of the things that have been built, like the NRA's power over certain politicians, can actually be brought down. Now, can it be brought down tomorrow or in October or next May? I can't give you that specific an answer, but I can tell you the potential is there to bring down the power of the NRA, and then in part, because of that, bring down politicians who are not living up to their oath of office. Fascinating. So, for whatever reason, whether it was the fact that there were 3 mass shootings, violent effects like, events like that in, I think it's a week, because it was Gilroy and then El Paso and then Dayton. So I don't know if that sort of created a bit more of a cumulative effect, and people are getting, it's too aware, it's too front and center, and people who maybe are normally sort of, it's to the side, they're busy focusing on other things. It's sort of now in everybody's faces, and people are starting to go, this is absolutely ridiculous. And so there is that sense that with enough public pressure, enough truth to power, enough, we will, as your constituents, prevent you from harvesting the riches of your office if you don't go along with what the American people want. So literally, this is a we will vote you out of office card if you don't get doing what you're supposed to be doing. And you've got justice and the Lovers. And so Justice and the Lovers is really talking about two sides coming together and creating justice. Now, you know, are those two sides the Republicans and the Democrats? Are those two sides, what is it, the House and the Senate? Are those two sides the Senate and Trump? But two sides are going to try to come together to create an environment for justice. And all of the commentary, all of the attention being drawn to politicians who have not kept their eyes on what's going on in their hometown, but are too busy looking for opportunities outside of their office. So whether that is kickbacks, whether that's, business deals, whatever it is, they've taken their eye off of their job, and in some cases have for many, many years. But the hope and the power of the people really does have the opportunity to change this. The wishes of the people can create a victory in this area. This is actually a little bit more optimistic of a reading than I was actually anticipating. I have to tell you, it really is. Okay. There are so many secrets. There is so much stuff that is factually and technically hidden. So, certain and some stuff we know, but some stuff I think still remains really clouded. Okay, so you're able to access how much money did a certain politician take from the NRA. What is it, a rating that the NRA issues to politicians who they, are in favor of? Those kinds of things can be seen. You can draw the data up and the information on it. But there's a lot of things that cannot be seen. A lot of things that are a little bit more back alley. Things that are just a little bit more unbecoming of a politician, let's say. Things that are really shady. There's a lot of that is not known yet. This card I'm literally reading as death. There has been the death of too many. Not only physical death, but frankly, emotional loss, grief, people's lives being shattered and have to try and rebuild them in some way. There's been too much. And things are going to start changing. And little steps combined tend to make big steps. They tend to make big accomplishments. So, what the cards are indicating is that a bunch of little steps moving forward will accomplish the goal that you're trying to accomplish in terms of, reining in the easy access to guns and, of course, the violence with guns. There is an opportunity for things to get resolved, with some speed. But this is the problem, if you will. How many times has Mitch McConnell uttered the words, "I'm not going to bring anything onto the floor for a vote that Trump won't sign"? And I'm not saying that's appropriate or right or, I don't know, even legal. I'm sure it is. So everybody's pressuring Mitch McConnell. Everybody's, chanting, Mitch, 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 do something, do something. You're yelling at your senators, do something, do something. Nothing's going to happen until Trump contacts McConnell and says, get it onto the floor. And the reason Trump very well might possibly do that is because he has not been able to divert attention away from his rhetoric, his racism, his NRA approved opinions about guns and gun sales. As that pressure against Trump continues to build. We know he doesn't like it when lots and lots of, like, even when his own party, when his own people start to sort of look at him and say, a step too far. That's when he backs down. So if the public pressure continues, there is every chance that he will actually bow down and sign something. But there is also every chance that he can be dissuaded. And so all you will have had is a summer of murder and no action from Washington. Or you will have had a summer murder and Mitch McConnell sort of being told to bring this legislation to the House for a vote. You've got emotions, okay? And right now emotions are running high and they're running strong. But we recognize that Trump has been able to withstand that kind of emotional backlash to him for certain periods of time. So the question is what's going on with Mitch not bringing this thing to the floor, not calling everybody back from vacation and getting on with the business of government. If this is still a story by Friday, by Monday, yeah, he actually may react. As if this demand to do something and do something now loses its momentum sort of by the end of this week or the beginning of next, he will successfully be able to just push it under the carpet, which frankly is one of his very best things that he seems to be able to do. Okay, I want to drill down a bit on the NRA and what their story is, and in fact the NRA's connection or influence with Trump and McConnell. Okay, now I'm saying that, and we all understand that their influence has been tremendous. They can get people to change their minds honestly mid-sentence by offering, I guess, or withholding funds and support. But the NRA is in a little bit of a weakened position right now. And so I would be very curious to know if, because of that weakened position, they maybe are not having quite the same amount of influence over certain Republicans as they have in the past. Is it possible that, some Republicans already are starting to peel away? Let's see if we can get some sort of an answer from tarot on that. So what I'm looking to find out is how powerful is the NRA's influence at this time? NRA, NRA, NRA. Not as strong as even they would like you to think. I'm not saying they've been, kneecapped. They haven't been taken out of the equation, but they are a lot more diminished than I would have expected even. So these two cards are talking about justice that is coming after them with a strength and a force that they have not experienced before. Okay, so the momentum in terms of the absolute need to get something done on gun reform, and honestly, even if this background check one passes, there is so much more work to be done, and there's every indication that the energies are moving towards a place where actually some sizable steps forward can be made in this arena if the focus stays on this arena. But the NRA, they are in a position where they are fighting back, they are pushing back, they are trying to defend themselves, although from what I understand so far anyways in the last few days, they've defended themselves by staying silent. But they're getting enough attention because there's the constant reminder that Trump and Mcconnell and, the Republicans, to a very large degree, are in the pockets of the NRA. So their name is coming up in a very in a way that it does not reflect well on the NRA. So really at this point, I think they figured out they should just be quiet. But they are in retreat. The NRA is in retreat. They are weakened. They are pulling back. They almost have come to understand that the whole fear-based rhetoric, fear-based reactions, fear-based responses has gotten to a place where it is actually damaging the NRA's reputation. And, this is the thing. Any organization or lobby group, they can be bold and out front and completely in support of candidate A or politician B. However, at the point where that connection to starts to hurt or damage their own reputation, they will tend to pull back. And I actually think that that's what we are seeing here, that the NRA may be a lot quieter and a lot more inclined to pull back some of their support. There is a lot of information that is going to come out about the leadership of the NRA, about accounting practices. There's just a lot of information that's going to be coming out about the NRA as an organization, including some of the highest principles of the organization, that is not going to stand up to the light of day. It is not going to put them in a very good light. As I understand it, they are currently being investigated by both the New York Attorney General and the Washington Attorney General. So they've got their own stuff flying out of the closets that isn't looking so good for them. So I'm not sure that there's actually going to be a really, really vigorous pushback to, some of the energy that is saying enough is enough, that's enough. So I kind of almost see them going into retreat a little bit. And I do understand and appreciate that would be a unusual thing for them to do, because normally they're really good about being front and center and, pushing their philosophy, their power, their purse strings at politicians to get what they want. But honestly, I'm seeing that emotionally, the country is not in a place to put up with this anymore. Has been a little bit of a saturation point hit now. Whether that saturation point holds and can hold long enough to continue to really push this forward, I mean, that remains to be seen, because that boils down to the people and the will of the people, and how much pressure can be applied, not only by the people, but by sponsors, by that kind of thing, in terms of moving this forward in a more positive way. But people are going to fall over this, okay? Absolutely. People are going to fall. And I don't mean the people who are shot in the back literally and fall. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not more people are going to fall in that way, although I'm sure there will be many more deaths in that way. But this is about the politicians falling. This is about Trump actually not being able to spin this as it gets closer and closer to his election in a positive way if something hasn't been done. It is about Mitch McConnell having a hard time going forward if he doesn't do something. And he has shown in the past that he's only prepared to do something when Trump tells him to. So much for the power and the strength of Mitch McConnell. He's just turned into a puppet like everybody else. There are going to be careers that fall as a result of the positions that people take and the actions that people take at this point in time. It's just hit a little bit of an inflection point. There's a certain amount of sort of anger that's coming through. And again, so we have the coming together of two sides, focusing literally on how many people are losing their lives and how to prevent people from losing their lives. It's about finding a way to put this chapter of the United States' history to rest already. It's time to find solutions. And again, I'm not promising this is going to happen in the next few months. That's going to be honestly really dependent on how much pressure continues to be applied. But either way, there will be change. It will come. I just can't tell you when it will come or at whose hand it will come. Whether it actually might come from this Trump administration or whether there's going to have to be a need to wait for the truth and the balance to come out with the next administration and president. Okay, so the good news is that the NRA does not appear to be they don't have the kind of power that they did. They're losing support. The hate rhetoric has gone way too far, and even people who support them are saying, that's enough. Come on. That's like ridiculous that you're talking like that. And so they're losing that support there. As they lose support, their opinion about certain politicians starts to lose weight. So those are good things. And I guess going forward, we're going to know what happens depending on how the politicians react to the pressure that they are receiving from, at home, at rallies, whatever it is, phone calls, of course, and, I know that I'm constantly saying this is up to you, you voters. It is up to you, citizens of the United States, but it kind of is. It just kind of is. When something crashes. No, when you turn a stone over in the garden and there's all those little creepy, crawly bugs under there, you have an opportunity. You can either slam the stone back on the bugs and say, I don't want to deal with that. Or you can say, let's shine some light on these bugs. They're not going to like it one little bit because they're living in the dark, so they don't want light. So let's shine some light on them and watch them scatter away. And we'll see what happens. We'll see how that unfolds. But take comfort from the fact that you are in a place and time where there's actually potential, real potential for you to start creating the momentum to make the changes. The steps have been in place for a long time. They've been in place, I don't know, since Columbine. I don't know, remember what the first mass shooting was. Now it's the momentum. The momentum is what's going to carry it forward. So that's not bad news. Hopefully this brings some comfort, some insight, perhaps some guidance. I thank you quickly. I thank you very much for the donations. They're lovely. The reading requests are great, and I really appreciate that. I thank you for your support. I thank you for the subscriptions, the thumbs up, the comments. It's all wonderful, and I feel incredibly blessed that the support I have is as strong and frankly loving and generous as it is. So there's that. Until next time, take care, be well, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.